They say revenge doesn't solve anything. But when I saw the bruise on my friend's back, the one left by the man who was supposed to love her, I didn't see reason. I saw red, and maybe I could have punched him. Maybe I should have, but instead, I quietly dismantled his life, piece by piece, until the very system he relied on spat him out. And the best part? He never even knew it was me. If you've ever dreamed of getting real justice for someone who was hurt and couldn't fight back, smash that like button. Because this isn't just a petty revenge story. This is the kind of cold, calculated karma that hits exactly where it hurts. Back in the early 2000s, when the internet still felt like a shiny new toy and not the monster it is now, I was just a regular student at my local junior college. Class part-time job, late-night pizza. Life was simple. I'd recently moved in with my girlfriend, let's call her Lucy, and we were doing the broke college couple thing. Ramen dinners, Netflix DVDs, and board game nights with friends. One night, Lucy said she was bringing a new friend from class, a girl named Sarah, and I was fine with it. What I didn't expect was open the door and realize I actually knew Sarah from high school. We were never best friends, but we'd always gotten along. The game night was a blast, laughter, inside jokes, the kind of night that makes you forget about midterms. And from that point on, Sarah became a regular. Dinners, movies, study sessions, she was part of the crew. Sarah sometimes brought her boyfriend, a guy named Jay. And if there's one word I could use to describe Jay, it's off. You know the type. Sits in the corner with his arms crossed, never joins a conversation, answers questions with grunts. It was like he hated being there, and honestly, it made the rest of us hate having him there too. We kept inviting him out of politeness, but it was clear he didn't belong. Eventually, he stopped coming, and honestly, no one missed him. Then one night, the vibe shifted. Sarah called Lucy, sobbing. Not just crying, sobbing. The kind of crying that makes your chest tighten before you even know what's wrong. We told her to come over immediately. When she arrived, mascara streaked down her cheeks, hands shaking. She told us everything. Jay had been furious about how much time she'd been spending at our place, accusing her of cheating. Not that it mattered who he thought it was with. The accusations were ridiculous. Then he started calling her names. Nasty, cruel, demeaning words that no one should ever have to hear from someone they love. And when she tried to leave, he shoved her hard. She stumbled backwards, tripped over a coffee table, and slammed onto the floor, leaving a massive bruise across her lower back and hip. Lucy told me about the bruise. Sarah showed her. I didn't see it, but I didn't need to, because in that moment, something in me snapped. I'm not a violent guy. I've never thrown a punch in my life, but I'm also not the kind of man who can stand by while someone hurts my friend, especially a woman. My first instinct was primal. Track Jay down and teach him a lesson he'd never forget. But anger alone wouldn't fix this. It might even make things worse for Sarah. So instead, I got quiet. And when I get quiet, it means I'm planning. At the time, I worked as a student employee in the administration office, which meant I had access to student records, class schedules, financial info, everything. And I knew something Jay didn't. The deadline to drop or add classes was only a few days away. So I waited patiently, like a spider watching a fly get closer to the web. On the very last day, I went into the office after my shift. I looked up Jay's student file. There was his schedule, his ID number, every detail I needed. And then I made my move. First, I dropped every single one of his classes. Every last one. Then, just a twist of the knife, I registered him for random courses that all had extra fees. Science labs, art studio courses, anything that would rack up debt. Why? Because at our school, if you owed fees, you couldn't get transcripts, couldn't register, couldn't do anything until that balance was paid. And here's the kicker. Jay was a foreign student. If he dropped below a certain number of units, he could lose his visa. I told no one, not even Lucy, not Sarah. If this came back to me, I'd be in serious trouble. But the satisfaction of knowing it was done, that was enough. The following Tuesday, Sarah had her English class, the one she shared with Jay. She was terrified of seeing him again. but when she walked in, Jay was already there. And so was someone new, a student who'd been waitlisted but finally got a seat. There weren't enough chairs. The professor frowned and took attendance. Jay's name wasn't called. He stood up confused and started arguing. "I'm enrolled in this class." "Check again." But the teachers shook their head. "You're not on the roster." It didn't matter how loud he argued. The system, my system, said he didn't belong. Sarah told me later she never saw him in that class again. Over the next few weeks, Jay disappeared from our lives completely. Sarah broke up with him the night after the shove. She never looked back. Lucy and I eventually went our separate ways too, and I lost touch with Sarah. But curiosity got the better of me one day, and I peeked back into Jay's file. The expense of classes? Dropped. His schedule? Completely empty. I don't know if he got expelled, deported, or just slunk back home in shame. But I do know one thing. He was gone, and he never hurt Sarah or anyone else I knew ever again. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far. If maybe I should have just supported him or confronted him face to face. But then I remember Sarah's shaking hands, her tear-streaked face, the bruise on her back. And I realized, no, I didn't go too far. He did. You can mess with me. You can call me names. You can try to make my life miserable. But the moment you put your hands on someone I care about, I will make sure you regret it. Revenge isn't always about anger. Sometimes it's about restoring balance, about showing someone that their cruelty doesn't go unanswered. And in Jay's case, justice wasn't just served. It was served cold. If that story gave you chills, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying act of revenge you've ever seen? And don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this, because sometimes karma needs a little push.